All right, let me pour you a strong one, because you are not going to believe this. The officiant cleared his throat, and I remember this weirdly specific detail. The sound echoed. It echoed because the first 3 rows on my side of the aisle were completely empty. My parents' seats? Empty. My brother's seat, the one reserved for the best man? You guessed it. Empty. My own family had boycotted my wedding, all because I refused to let my brother tell my 8-year-old son that he wasn't part of our real family. And the craziest part? Standing there, watching my incredible wife walk towards me, I had never, ever been happier. But to understand how we got to a wedding with a guest list that was missing my entire immediate family, we need to go back about 6 months to a perfectly normal Sunday barbecue that turned into the beginning of the end. So, let's set the scene. There's me, I'm 32. There's my fiancée, Sarah, the most amazing woman on the planet. And then there's my son, Leo. He's 8. I adopted Leo when he was a baby, long before I met Sarah. He's not my stepson. He's not a kid I took in. He is my son. Period. The ink on the adoption certificate is just as binding as any DNA, you know? He's my whole world. Sarah came into our lives and fell in love with both of us. And honestly, seeing the bond she and Leo have is one of the things that made me know I had to marry her. Then there's my side of the family. My parents are, well, they're my parents. They love me, I guess, but their love has always been conditional. The condition is my older brother, Kevin. Kevin is 35 and has always been the golden child. He got the better grades, was better at sports, and could do no wrong. If Kevin breathed, my parents framed the exhaled air and hung it on the wall. Me? I was the reliable one, the one who just got on with things. This dynamic has existed our whole lives, and mostly, I just learned to live with it. It is what it is. The problem is, Kevin never grew out of being a jerk. He has this special brand of condescending humor that he thinks is hilarious, but is really just mean. And ever since I adopted Leo, he's had this weird, unspoken issue with it. He'd make these little jokes. Like at Christmas, if Leo got a gift from my parents, Kevin would say something like, "Wow, they're even spoiling the B team now." He'd say it with a smirk, and if I called him on it, my parents would jump in. "Oh, stop it, he's just kidding. Don't be so sensitive. Kevin loves his nephew." They'd always hesitate on the word nephew, like it was a foreign language. It was annoying, but I could handle it. I'd correct them, stand up for Leo, and try to move on. I didn't want their weirdness to taint Leo's childhood. He was a happy, confident kid, and I was going to keep it that way. So, back to that Sunday barbecue. It was at my parents' house. The whole extended family was there. Sarah and I had just announced our engagement the week before, so there was a lot of buzz. We were all sitting around the patio table, and Leo was showing my uncle his new Lego creation. My uncle, who is a decent guy, asked him, "So, Leo, you excited to be the ring bearer?" Leo's face lit up. "Yeah, I get to carry the rings on a special pillow." And that's when Kevin, from across the table, chimed in. "A ring bearer? Huh, I thought that was a job for, family." The air went still. It was one of those comments that was so deliberately pointed, you couldn't ignore it. I saw Sarah's hand tighten on her glass. I looked at Leo, and his smile had vanished. He was looking down at his Lego, his little shoulders slumped. I just saw red. I didn't yell. I kept my voice low and cold. "What did you just say, Kevin?" He put his hands up in mock surrender, that stupid smirk on his face. "Whoa, chill out, man. It was just a joke. It's just, usually, it's like a nephew or a cousin. That's all I'm saying. He is my son, and your nephew," I said, my voice like ice. "And he is going to be our ring bearer." End of discussion. My mom immediately jumped in, playing referee. Okay, let's not fight. Kevin, apologize to your brother. You know you didn't mean it." Kevin mumbled something that sounded vaguely like sorry while rolling his eyes. But the damage was done. For the rest of the afternoon, Leo was quiet and stuck to my side. On the drive home, he asked me, "Dad, is Kevin my real uncle?" My heart just broke. I pulled the car over. I turned around and looked him right in the eyes. "Leo, you are my real son. That makes him your real uncle, and them your real grandparents. Sometimes, grown-ups say stupid, mean things because of their own problems. It has nothing to do with you. You are my family. You and me and Sarah." "Got it." He nodded, but I could see the hurt was still there. That night, I was furious. Sarah tried to calm me down, saying, "He's an idiot. We know who our family is. Let's just focus on us." She was right, but a seed of pure, unadulterated rage had been planted. That was the first real shot across the bow. The escalation came a couple of months later. We were deep in wedding planning. We'd booked the venue, Sarah had her dress, and we were sending out the save the dates. My mom called me, her voice all sweet and syrupy. "Honey, your father and I were thinking. We'd love to contribute to the wedding fund. As a gift, of course." I was surprised. They'd never offered to help with anything significant before. "Wow, Mom. Thanks. That's really generous." "Well," she continued, "we just want the day to be perfect." And speaking of perfect, I was talking to Kevin, and he had a wonderful idea. You know how your little cousin, Michael, is just the cutest thing? He thought Michael would make an adorable ring bearer alongside Leo. To represent both sides of the family. I felt my blood run cold. I knew exactly what this was. This was Kevin, using my parents as his mouthpiece to undermine Leo again. "Mom, no. Leo is our ring bearer. We're not adding anyone else." "But why not? It would be so cute. And it would make Kevin feel more included." "Make Kevin feel included? He's the best man. How much more included can he be?" "This isn't about Kevin, and it's not about Michael. It's about you guys still not accepting that Leo is my son. It's insulting." The sweetness in her voice evaporated. "Don't you take that tone with me. We are trying to help. You're making this so difficult. You're so sensitive about this whole adoption thing. We're just trying to make sure the whole family feels welcome." "The whole family is welcome," I shot back. "But I'm not going to create a fake role for a cousin just to soothe my brother's ego and your discomfort. Leo is the ring bearer. That's final." I hung up the phone, my hand shaking. The offer of money was a bribe. A way to get control, to get their way. I told Sarah we weren't accepting a dime from them. We'd pay for the whole thing ourselves, even if it meant cutting back on some things. Our wedding was going to be ours, on our terms. But the final straw, the one that shattered everything, happened about a month before the wedding. My parents had insisted on hosting a family dinner to celebrate. They said it was a peace offering. I was hesitant, but Sarah, bless her heart, convinced me to go. "Let's just be civil," she said, "for one night. Then we're in the home stretch." So we went. And it was fine. For about an hour. Kevin was on his best behavior, which was almost creepier than him being a jerk. The food was good. The small talk was happening. Then, after dinner, the adults were in the living room, and Leo was in the den with a few of the younger cousins, playing a video game. I got up to grab a drink from the kitchen, and the path took me right past the open den door. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but I heard Kevin's voice and I just froze. He was in there with the kids. And he was saying, "You see, guys, my brother is marrying Sarah, which is awesome. But Leo is her son, so when they get married, he's going to be part of their new family. But me and Grandma and Grandpa, we're the original family. The blood family. It's different." One of my younger cousins asked, "So Leo's not your real nephew?" And then Kevin said the words that will be burned into my brain forever. He looked right at my son, who was just staring at him with wide, confused eyes, and he said, "Exactly. We're not real family. It's more like a temporary thing until he's grown up." I didn't even feel my feet moving. One second, I was in the hallway. The next, I was standing in the doorway of the den. I didn't look at anyone but Kevin. My voice came out as a low growl. "Get out." He looked up, surprised. "What?" I was just explaining. I said, "Get out." I repeated, stepping into the room. "Get out of my parents' house right now." Leo had started to cry, silent tears streaming down his face. I went to him, knelt down, and pulled him into a hug. He buried his face in my shoulder, sobbing. Over his head, I watched Kevin saunter out of the room, not a hint of remorse on his face. My parents came rushing in, drawn by the commotion. "What on earth is going on?" my dad demanded. I stood up, holding Leo's hand. "Your son just told my son that he's a temporary part of this family. He told him we aren't real family. In front of all the cousins. So I told him to leave." My mom gasped and put a hand to her chest. "Oh, honey, you misunderstood. Kevin would never." "I heard him, Mom," I said, my voice shaking with a rage I had never felt before. "I heard every single word. And he's not sorry. He's never been sorry." My dad looked at me, his face hard. He was probably just talking facts. Biologically, it's true. Leo needs to be strong enough to handle the truth. And that was it. That was the breaking point. It was like a bomb went off in my head, but a silent one. In that instant, every excuse I had ever made for them, every time I had swallowed my anger for the sake of peace, it all turned to ash. They weren't just enabling an asshole, they were assholes too. They agreed with him. They would never, ever see my son as their grandson. They would always prioritize Kevin's cruelty over Leo's heart. I looked at my mom and dad, these two people who were supposed to love me unconditionally, and I felt nothing, just a cold, dead certainty. "We're leaving," I said. I picked Leo up, and Sarah, who had heard everything from the doorway with tears in her own eyes, followed me. We walked out of that house without another word and didn't look back. The confrontation, the real climax, happened over the phone the next day. I let myself cool down overnight. I talked it all through with Sarah. We were a team. We knew what we had to do. I called Kevin first. He answered a little defensively. "Look, man, about last night." "Don't." I cut him off. My voice was calm, completely devoid of emotion. "I'm not calling to argue. I'm calling to inform you. You are no longer my best man. Your invitation to the wedding is revoked. Don't come." There was silence. Then, sputtered rage. "You can't do that. I'm your brother. You're choosing some kid over your own brother." "Yes," I said. "I am. I'll choose him today, and I'll choose him every day for the rest of my life. You made it very clear that you are not family to him, so you will not be family at my wedding. Goodbye, Kevin." I hung up before he could respond. Less than 5 minutes later, my mom called, already hysterical. "What have you done? How could you do this to your brother? You're tearing this family apart." "No, Mom," I said, with that same chilling calm. "Kevin did that, and you and Dad helped him. You had a choice. You could have been grandparents to a wonderful little boy. You could have been parents to me. But you chose Kevin. You always choose Kevin. You will call him right now and apologize and re-invite him," my dad yelled, clearly on speakerphone. "Or we're not coming either. We will not be there to see you get married if you disrespect your brother like this." This was the threat they thought would break me. The ultimate trump card. For years, the threat of their disapproval had been enough. But they didn't realize they were holding cards from a deck I was no longer playing with. I actually laughed. A short, bitter laugh. "Okay." There was a confused silence on their end. "What do you mean, okay?" my mom asked. "I mean, okay. If you are conditioning your presence at my wedding on me, allowing a man who emotionally abuses my child to stand next to me, then I don't want you there. Consider your invitations revoked as well. Sarah and I will be getting married on our planned date. We will be surrounded by people who love and support our entire family. It's a shame you've chosen not to be on that list." The screaming started again, but I didn't listen. I just said, "I have to go now," and I hung up the phone. I blocked their numbers. I blocked Kevin. I felt a weight I hadn't even realized I was carrying lift off my shoulders. I was free. Which brings us back to the wedding. Standing there, watching Sarah walk down the aisle, I glanced at those empty seats. It wasn't sad. It was a symbol. It was the space I had cleared in my life, getting rid of the toxicity to make room for real, unconditional love. My friend Mark, who I'd called in a panic, stepped up to be my best man with no hesitation. Sarah's family had embraced me and Leo as their own from day one, and their side of the church was overflowing. My friends, my chosen family, were all there, smiling and cheering. The wedding was beautiful. It was perfect. It was filled with joy and laughter, with absolutely no condescending jokes or passive-aggressive tension. Leo was the most handsome ring bearer in history, and he practically skipped down the aisle, his smile wide and genuine, the hurt from that night finally starting to fade. After the wedding, all hell broke loose in the extended family. My parents and Kevin launched a smear campaign, telling everyone that I was a selfish, horrible son who had abandoned his family over a silly misunderstanding. Some relatives bought it. We got angry texts and voicemails. But a surprising number of them, including my uncle from the barbecue, called me and said, "Good for you. We've seen how they treat you for years. We're on your side." It's been a year now. We have had zero contact with my parents or Kevin. I hear through the grapevine that Kevin is bitter and my parents are heartbroken, playing the victims to anyone who will listen. But my life? It's peaceful. My marriage is incredible. And my son is thriving. He knows, without a shadow of a doubt, that he is loved and that his dad will protect him from anything and anyone, even his own blood. I didn't lose a family. I just finally cut out the cancerous part.